and good morning. Welcome to the San Antonio Zoo. My name is Karen. As you can see next to me, we are celebrating a very special day. None other than our beautiful young baby boy, Timothy, is turning 5 years old today. So we have decorated our Africa Live building with lots of fun beach theme or pool theme stuff. We've got some cool signs. Obviously we can't give him stuff like this because he would destroy it. Everything we give our animal either needs to be 100% edible or 100% indestructible, so that even if he were to destroy it, it's not going to affect him in any way. So we've done a lot of fun stuff, and you'll start to see as we start panning the windows when hopefully he comes out. It's early and it's a little chilly here in Texas, so he's taking his time walking out. And when I mean time, I mean like he's taking his time. Hippos are pretty slow moving. However, they can reach max speeds of 30 miles per hour on land, which is terrifying and amazing all at the same time. But him, early in the morning, he's got to take his time, walk his way out. But we have set up a lot of goodies and lots of fun stuff for him to kind of like play with. So you guys can probably take a peek now. We've got a lot of his favorite things. We got watermelon, cantaloupe. We even have a fun birthday cake out there for him with his number 5 on it, which has a lot of just delicious things on there like grapes and carrots. There's even some strawberries that might be hidden in there. And we have 2 very large ice blocks. One has crumpled, but you know what? Just more fun for him to play around with and kind of like mess around. Hopefully he'll push those in the pool, which would be so much fun to watch. You can see in the background we made a lot of just fun enrichment. We made a big beach ball that he can totally destroy and do whatever he wants with. We also made a fun sandcastle as well as a fun palm tree with delicious banana leaves on it that he can eat and enjoy and all that great stuff. So as you can see, he's not out here right up. Here comes the fun hippos. But yeah, we have a lot of fun decorations. We painted their windows. We just went all out for his birthday. So we're very, very excited. Here is Timothy taking his time, taking a moment to take in what he's looking right now. This isn't something that we do every day with our animals, so anytime we give enrichment, whether big or small, sometimes it can seem a little intimidating at first. So we just got to give him a minute to kind of like suss it out, see if it's, what's it going to do. It might take him some time, but he'll realize that there's a lot of good stuff out there. Just right now, he's like, what is that big, weird thing in the corner? Oh my gosh. But just like any animal, whether they're 5 years old or 50 years old, they're pretty much all going to react the same way, where it's just like, what's happening? This isn't normal. So he might take a dip in the pool. He hasn't decided just yet. There we go. Now, hippos spend 90% of their day in the water, so he's demonstrating that very much. And if you guys have ever been to the zoo, our hippos are pretty much always in the water all the time. It's a lot cooler in there. They are found in their natural habitat in Africa. So it's a lot warmer out there. So if you've ever been in Texas in the summer, think of it in that sense. If we could spend all day, every day in the pool, we would do the same thing. Oh, look at Timothy saying, good morning. He's like, what's this on the windows? That's fun. Now, what's really cool that, I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but I think it's one of the most interesting facts about hippos is that they actually can't swim. Even though they spend a lot of time in the water, like I just mentioned, they don't swim. They're either going to float around and like push off of objects that are down there to kind of like float to and from things, kind of like what we do when we're in intertubes, or they're just going to walk along the bottom of whatever water source they're hanging out at, which is impressive. I mean, if you look at them, they're a large, massive animal. They're the 3rd largest land mammal. First is elephants, then rhinos, then hippos. Male hippos can weigh up to 8,000 pounds. Now, he is our only male hippo, but he's only 5 years old, so he obviously is not anywhere near 8,000 pounds right now. He's probably around, if not a little bit over, 3,000 pounds. He wants to go and check the cake out, but he doesn't know if he really wants to do it. He can see all the delicious goodies, but he's like, what's that white stuff? He'll get braver. He'll get all those fun little steps and just get a little bit closer and realize all the good stuff that we have up there for him. But for those of you just joining us, welcome to the San Antonio Zoo. This is Timothy that you're checking out. It is his 5th birthday today. He was actually born at the Albuquerque Zoo in New Mexico. But he's been here at the San Antonio Zoo pretty much his entire life, minus that first year or so. And that is Timothy's companion. We call him Kevin. Kevin thinks he's a hippo too, so it's kind of fun. So Timothy is just wandering around, oh my gosh, and checking out all the fun stuff on his mirrors, which is really, really cute. Timothy is not fully grown. For male hippos, they generally don't reach sexually mature age until about 9 years old. And he just turned 5 today, so he's still got a couple more years before he's going to be considered an adult hippo. So as you guys can see, he's just looking around, checking out all of the fun stuff that we have on the island for him. We have a lot of fun, delicious treats like watermelons are up there, cantaloupes. We have some apples hidden on his delicious cake that is there. We've got some greens, some more watermelons, strawberries, carrots, grapes. He loves all of his fruits.
What's his cake made out of?
His cake is made out of a variety of just like the different like biscuits that we feed here at the zoo for our hippos. And those biscuits provide different types of nutrients for them, so that those biscuits help when you get them wet, you can mold them, so we're able to make some cool fun designs and stuff like that. Ooh, ice time. He's like, whoa, that is way too cold for me. That was a fun reaction. But yeah, these animals are found in Africa, so obviously a place where it's very warm, very hot. So something like those big ice blocks is not something you're going to see in the natural environment, of course, but here we can provide those fun things that he can interact with. Now, everything that you see that we provided Timothy for today is not something that we do every day, but on those birthdays and on those special days for all of our animals, we like to just go a little bit more extra, a little bit more crazy of creating all those fun things like that big beach ball that he can destroy and break apart, the tree, the sandcastle, and even his birthday cake. He just hasn't decided what he wants to do with very much of it. And right now, like any male hippo, he needs, use the restroom, mark his territory, all that fun stuff. He's basically telling everybody else that this is mine and nobody else can touch it. Now, we do have 2 hippos here at our San Antonio Zoo. This one is Timothy, like I mentioned. He's our young male. He's 5 years old. And then we have our adult female, Uma, who's actually 45. She will be joining Timothy after a couple more minutes. We just wanted to give him time to enjoy all of his fun, delicious treats, which now he's getting out of the water. We're going to see some fun stuff. Maybe, I don't know. The tree is really throwing him off right now. Like I said, it's always fun. We like to come up with just different ideas to give our animals just so it breaks up their day just like us. We don't always play or do the same thing every day. We like to try different things, different games, different movies, and all that kinds of fun stuff. It's the same thing that we do with our animals when we find enrichment items to give them, whether it be a puzzle feeder or we just kind of hang it out there. We might disperse it and let it float around. I can see some apples are floating in the pool, which he's more interested in that cake, so that's good to know. Oh, here we go, maybe. He really wants the cake, but the tree, that's what's scary right now to him. So what we're going to do while Timothy decides how much he really wants to hang out with that cake is we're going to bring up some of the other awesome animal keepers that take care of our hippos, and I'll introduce you to them. We have Abby, Jamie, Angela, and Chase. And this is just 5 of us, where there's a total of 14 of us on our Mammals One team that takes care of not just our hippos, but a wide variety of different species. So if you guys want to sing along with us, we are going to sing Happy Birthday to oh, wow, perfect timing. Oh, my gosh. Ready, guys? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Timothy. Happy birthday to you. Oh my gosh, perfect timing.
And many more.
Which is very true, as she says. We expect many more years with Timothy. What's awesome about hippos is they have an average lifespan of usually in their like mid to late 30s, but we expect them to live almost in their 40s, if not beyond that. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, Uma, which is our adult female hippo that shares and hangs out with Timothy, is 45 years old. So we expect a long, happy, wonderful, fun-filled life with Timothy, especially as he chows down on his delicious cake. The hunger won out. He wanted that more than the scary tree. But yeah, we have a lot of delicious things in there. So the cake itself, like the base of it, is made out of the different biscuits that we feed them, which I can tell you the names. They're really funny, you know, like wild herbivore, all that fun stuff. But just think of really nutritious like biscuits for specifically hippos. We are able to like soak them, whether that be in water, apple juice, a lot of just fun stuff so that we can mold it into whatever shape we would like it. And then we add all the delicious things on top of it or even in it, like grapes, strawberries, cantaloupe, watermelon. He even has some vegetables in there, like I said, the carrots and beets and stuff like that. We gave him a lot of fun little ice blocks. Watermelons are everywhere. He's got a whole bunch of fun stuff that he gets to enjoy eating all day, every day. I don't know about you, but I also love to eat, especially when there's a lot of good stuff to eat. Now with Timothy turning 5 years old, he is not fully grown. Male hippos can weigh up to 8,000 pounds. So he's going to be, oh my gosh, gigantic. When Uma comes out here, she is bigger than him right now, but when he's fully grown, he'll almost be like twice her size. Which is impressive to even think about because when we first got him, he was so small. He was like way less than half his size. So it's amazing as keepers to be able to see and watch our animals grow, whether we get to see them from birth or we get to see them a little bit later. It's still an awesome thing that we get to just watch. Oh, he loved that watermelon. He's not sure about the ice, though. Maybe just too chilly. Now, hippos, they have those gorgeous tusks, which his are still small. Like I said, he's still a young hippo. But male hippos' tusks can grow up to 2 feet long as they grow throughout their entire life. His are really small, so maybe he'll like open his mouth a little bit later, and so he can show you guys his tusks. They do have big molars in the back of his mouth that you won't be able to see unless his mouth is fully open, and those are obviously going to help, just like our molars do, crunch up and just better digest the food that we're swallowing. They love to eat a variety of different things, as well as we feed them a variety of stuff, whether it be veggies and fruits. They also get hay. We don't put hay out here, and the reason for that is if you've ever worked with hay or glitter, you just put like one flake and it just like explodes everywhere. So they usually get fed their hay inside their barn, which is like their big inside holding area. That's where all their hay from coastal as well as Timothy that they're going to get, and they get that hay every day. The variety of fruits and veggies will change daily, but they do get that every day as well. Yummy! What a lot of people don't know is that hippos do have a max speed on land. They can reach up to 30 miles per hour if they wanted to. Now you have to think about it. They're not going to do it continuously. It's mostly in short spurts. Hippos are very territorial. They're very protective over their space. So although they live in large group settings called bloats, which is adorable, they're going to be protective even against other hippos that kind of like hone in on their territory. They're very social. They're constantly interacting within their group of hippos. They're not really known for like vocalizing towards each other, although they do have grunts and things like that they can do. They're going to use their mouths to actually communicate with one another. They can open their mouth almost a good 180 degrees, which is awesome. So basically, if we didn't cut that watermelon in many pieces, he could have easily just taken that whole watermelon in his mouth and crushed it. Now, while hippos are on land, what's really cool is they have pores all over their body that secrete what is called blood sweat. It is not blood, but it gets the name because of its coloration. It's red in color. But like I said, it's not blood. But what that sweat does for them is it's a moisturizer, a sunscreen, as well as an antiseptic. So it's a lot of really cool things that hippos have, especially in their natural environment, to just kind of combat all of that stuff, the heat, the sun, and everything like that.
Are hippos omnivores?
They are. They love their fruits and veggies. I know a lot of people, when they come and see our hippos, whether they be on videos or when the zoo opens back up again, they see the fish in the water. And I get the assumption that they think, oh, that's part of their diet. It's not. The fish are there aesthetically because they're beautiful, and fish and hippos do live together. But also the fish actually help the hippos out, keep them nice and clean. If you look at Timothy, it's not the easiest animal to be able to reach back and clean their body or even the inside of their mouth, whereas fish are going to do that for them. They're going to keep them nice and clean, keep their mouths nice and clean when they're in the water. Oh, with Timothy. He is having a lot of fun with that cake right now. He wants to paint with the cake. That's awesome. He realized very quickly, let's not step on the cake. That was a bad idea. But if you've been around a 5-year-old of anything, whether it be an animal or 5-year-old kid, they're all the same. Play, smash the cake, run with it. Then they realize, oh, probably not the best idea. He wants to investigate all the fun enrichment back there, but he also just doesn't know what to think about it, which is a lot. It's a lot of fun to watch animals interact with the enrichment items that we give them. And enrichment, it's just a big fancy word for toy. So their toys are obviously going to be very different from what we play with, but it's still the same concept. We have enrichment items at home, whether that be TVs or movies or board games or card games or Xboxes and computers. It's a wide variety of different enrichment items, and depending on the person, they're going to have different likes and dislikes. And that's the same with animals. We gave them a lot of different things, but there are going to be some items that we give them that they're just not that interested in, and there's going to be some that they're all about. Right now, he's all about the food. Or he's just going to, just going to push it in the pool for later.
What is the beach ball made out of?
The beach ball is made of paper and flour and water. So if you guys ever want to do a fun activity at home, which now is the perfect time to do it, you can make your own beach balls. You guys can use balloons or any other balls around the house that you can kind of wrap with strips of newspaper, and then you mix a substance of flour and water together, which kind of creates a paste. So it's sticky, but still in the sense that we can make stuff like this for our animals, and if they digest some of it, it's not going to be harmful for them. Yummy watermelon. With our hippos, not only do we do fun stuff like enrichment, but we do also train our animals. We use tons of behaviors with them, and the reason we call them behaviors is because everything that we ask our animals from them is something that they already know how to do. It's just now we've either paired it with a hand signal or a verbal cue, whether that be sit or down or lay or things like that that you would do with your animals at home. A trick is very different from a behavior. A trick is something that an animal actually doesn't know, so you have to actually teach them that particular movement. But everything that you see with any of our animals, whether they be hippos or lions or elephants or tigers or any of our primates, they're all behaviors, and all the behaviors help us as keepers better take care of our animals. And those behaviors are really important to us, such as husbandry behaviors. Ice block scary. But those, like I was mentioning, those behaviors not only help us take care of them, but it also helps us work safely with them. Even though both of our hippos were born within zoological settings and grew up around people, they're still a wild animal. They're still a large animal that has a lot of weight. They're very territorial over their space. So anytime we have to clean their exhibits, whether that be this gorgeous pool and everything like that, or their barn, we do shift our hippos, as well as a variety of other species that we have around the zoo. I think he's hanging out in his favorite corner. But shifting is just a way for us keepers to help us safely move with our animals that we take care of so we can clean their habitat. So like one of the things we do in our hippo hab is we clean their windows. So we dive the pool once a week and we scrub these windows. We'll even clean the bottoms, clean up those big piles of hay. I mentioned a little bit earlier that our hippos do get fed hay. They get Timothy and coastal, but we don't feed their hay out here. Hay's very messy. It scatters everywhere. We feed it in the barn, but what goes in must come out. So that is how all this hay ends up here.
Looks like the fish are enjoying the cake too.
Oh, very much so. The fish will enjoy pretty much any food that we offer our hippos. It's a lot of fun to see that. What's cool about hippos is they spend 90% of their day in the water. That's basically like all day, minus the few hours in the natural environment that they come out of the water at night, because it's a lot cooler for them to go graze around and close to their water source. So they actually don't know how to swim, which I always thought was really interesting. They spend all that time in the water, but they never learned how to swim. The reason for that is they're very large animals, and they've got really short legs, so it takes them a while to like move around. It's not the easiest thing like some animals can in the water. So they'll either push off of objects like Timothy is so wonderfully demonstrating, or they will walk along the bottom like he's also demonstrating, which is pretty awesome.
Somebody asked if they don't know how to swim, how can they tell how deep the water is before they go in?
That is a great question. I wouldn't really know how to answer that definitely, because that would be me having to ask a hippo, and I don't know how to speak hippo, unfortunately. But what they'll do is they can hold their breath. So when they're underwater, they're holding their breath. Just like when we go underwater, average is about like 5 to 10 minutes, but they can even hold their breath up to a max of like an hour, which is pretty impressive for animals. The way they use their lungs is very different from how we use ours, and it's because of them spending so much time in the water when they're younger, and as they get older, they're able to it's a great adaptation for them. So when they take in those breaths of air, which to us just looks like a quick like second that they come up for that air, their lungs are like fully opening up and taking in quite a bit more air than what we do when we take breaths. So for that question, it's hard for me to say that they know, or that we could even determine how they would know how deep something is, but they know their body, they know how long they can go, and they're going to know when they need to come back up, get a quick to the surface, get a quick breath of air, and go back down.
Catherine would like to know if the hippos have a favorite zookeeper.
That is a great question. I don't know. I would say anybody who has food, especially Timothy. He's 5 years old, so if you have food or even a water hose is his like most enjoyable enrichment item that has nothing to do with food. If you have one of those, he's all about it. As for like keepers, it's hard to say. With a total of like 14 of us, we kind of like move throughout different sections within our Mammals One department. So we're constantly, whether working with hippos or jags or gibbons or bears or lemurs or tamarins, we have a wide variety of different species of animals that we work with on a daily basis. So it's hard to say that an animal might have a favorite, and it's hard for me to know unless I can ask them. I don't speak hippo, although I'm pretty sure every keeper, just like me, wish we could speak to our animals. It would make our job a lot easier. They'd be able to tell us some things that they like or don't like or all that fun stuff. But that's the joy of working with animals. You never know what you're going to get with them. They have fun personalities. They have their good and bad days just like people do. So it's a lot of fun to work with them. You never know what you're going to get on a daily basis within the day.
We've got some questions asking about when Uma is going to join.
I believe Uma should be joining shortly. Uma is our adult female hippo. She's 45 years old, so she is a lot larger and a little bit slower. But she should hopefully be joining Timothy with his birthday celebration soon. We will let y'all know when Uma takes her grand appearance as she walks out. But we wanted to make sure to give Timothy some time with all of his enrichment items and delicious food and stuff like that, and then we were going to let Uma out to also enjoy his birthday party and his delicious foods.
How much does Timothy weigh?
I don't know off the top of my head the exact number, but I would say right now he's probably estimated to be in his early 3,000 pounds, give or take. He is a growing boy. He eats very well for his age, so he is constantly growing and getting bigger. Oh, now here comes Uma. Now she's going to come and join the party. This is Uma. She is our adult female hippo. For those of you just joining us, we have a lot of fun enrichment items out on the island, and although it's really fun for us to make and do this fun stuff for our animals, sometimes our animals, no matter what age they are, it takes them a little bit of time to get comfortable with what we have offered them. There have been plenty of times where all of our animals have gotten things like cardboard boxes, balls, ice, and things like that, but for birthdays, as you have noticed within this video, we like to go all out, big extravagant party, and sometimes we forget that maybe less is better. But we like to just do it all. We can't help it. So our animals just have to take the time to realize that, oh, it's something I can eat or play with. It's not going to move.
Raylene was asking if we ever feed the hippos the fruit and veggies that grow here on zoo grounds.
The fruit and veggies that grow here on zoo grounds, yes. We do sometimes. You have to realize the amount of food that we go through with not just our hippos, but all of our animals. It's more than sometimes what the zoo can produce, especially on a daily basis. But yes, the fruits and veggies that we do grow here will be fed out to some of our animals. It just varies. And just like we always like to do, we like to make sure to give them a nice variety of different things to eat and play with. We do have 2 hippos here at our San Antonio Zoo. We have a male and a female. They are related. Uma, who's hanging out on the land, she's 45 years old. She's been here at the San Antonio Zoo pretty much her entire life. And then we have Timothy, who is hanging out in the water. You can kind of see like the very top of his head. And he just turned 5 today. He was actually born at the Albuquerque Zoo in New Mexico. But he's been with us pretty much most of his life, minus that first year and a half. So we've been able to see him grow and get real big and get lots of fun personality. Now, we do feed our animals in different ways, whether that be displaying and laying the food out on land, or sometimes we will even toss food in the water. We'll do a water feed. They do get a nice wide variety of different types of veggies and fruits, whether that be kale, romaine, collard greens, or cantaloupe, watermelon, apples. They get a lot of fun, delicious stuff for them.
A lot of people are asking about Fiona, so I'm going to ask you about SSB and just talk about how it's a fun way to raise awareness.
All right, we've got a lot of questions about a hippo love story and some potential matches for Timothy in the future. Can you talk about that at all?
Of course, that is always our big question here, especially with how Timothy and Fiona are constantly sending things to and from each other. Now, one thing I always like to talk about with that is, although it's exciting and it's a lot of fun to put that energy into like possibly thinking someday down the road we will be able to get an awesome match like Timothy and Fiona, that, however, is not our decision. And what I mean by that is we have to go with SSP, and what that stands for is the Species Survival Plan. It's an awesome organization that basically keeps track of every species of animal within an AZA accredited facility. and then some. And what I mean by that is if you wanted to know anything about or hippos, we'll take hippos for instance, there is an individual that has all the information of every hippo within those zoos, aquariums, or facilities around the United States, and that what they do is when it does come time for breeding is that they're going to look at all the hippos that are of breeding age, and they're going to go from there. So for Timothy, he's 5 years old. Male hippos aren't sexually mature until close to around like 8 or 9 years old, whereas female hippos, they're not sexually mature until about 5 to 6. So we've still got a lot of time, both in Timothy and Fiona's case, before that's even a decision. Even though we talk about it a lot, like I mentioned, it's not our decision. It's going to go back to our species survival plan, where they're going to look to see at the genetics, to see what's going to be good for this species as hippos in the longevity of zoos, aquariums, and just that species of animal in general. It's a great organization, like I said, that keeps track of all animals, whether they be as small as fish or as large as hippos, and everything in between and beyond, to make sure that the best match is found for those animals and to create offspring for later generations down the road.
Who are Timothy's parents?
Cool thing, I don't remember their names off the top of my head.
Karen and Mo.
They're Karen and Mo. Psych, I fooled you. Of course I knew them. Karen and Mo are both at the Albuquerque Zoo in New Mexico. And what's awesome is that Karen is actually one of Uma's daughters, which is pretty amazing. So like I had mentioned earlier, Uma is Timothy's grandmother. And they both want this cake and ice, but they choose not to go on land. They're going to really work for their food today, which is just another reason why we like to give these different types of enrichment items, to see how they or our animals interact with it. And right now they're interacting with it by sitting poolside and getting the pool service of the food and ice coming up to them. You'll see these fun interactions between our two hippos. They do vocalize, and what I mean by that is they do have grunts that they can do. However, they're not going to use those vocalizations to really communicate with one another. They're going to use their mouths. And with that being said, that's where we get questions about, where you'll see those scratches and stuff like that. And what they do with it is, like what I said, is it's how they communicate with one another. Whether they are crossing a line or they're just playing. If you've ever been around kids or even adults when they're roughhousing, sometimes it just gets a little messy. And animals are very much the same way. Now, with having a younger hippo, we do sometimes get questions about like gestation and how many, hippo babies can a female hippo have. Generally, they're going to have one. And that one hippo already takes a lot of time and energy from mom. It's not impossible for an adult female hippo to have twins. It's just rare, very rare. So they're generally going to have one, and they're going to have that one, and they won't have another one until another 2 years later, give or take. The gestation for a hippos is about 8 months. So it's almost as long as people of the 9-month pregnancy, but 8 months. And they're, like I mentioned, the babies will stay with mom for about 1.5 to 2 years. Nursing, getting nice and big. And then once that 2 years mark kind of hits, if not a little bit earlier than that, is when they'll kind of branch off and go in search of their own hippopod. And like all animals, animals are messy. But that's just the fun part of our job. We get to give them all these fun, really cool enrichment items, whether they be food or boxes or paper mache balls, and they're going to play and eat it, and then we get to clean it all up.
Karen, do we have anything else going on today to celebrate?
We have a lot of fun stuff going on today. Not only are we just going to keep these decorations up and see how long they last, because we love to do stuff like that, we have a 2 o'clock book reading to Timothy, which is going to be a lot of fun. So you guys got to come back and join in with us while one of the keepers is going to read Timothy a fun book for his birthday. And then we also have another fun Facebook Live event with Timothy celebrating his birthday at 3 o'clock. So we've got a lot of fun stuff going on at the San Antonio Zoo, especially for Timothy and his big 5-years-old birthday party that you guys can celebrate with us all day long. Yummy food. For those of you just joining us and you're watching Timothy devour his cake, a lot of people have been asking what it's made out of. It's basically made out of the food that he generally gets on a daily basis. It's the biscuits that we give him. We've basically either soaked them in water, or sometimes we'll even soak it with a little bit of apple juice to add that extra deliciousness of sweet. And that makes it easier for us to kind of form into whatever structure or design that we so choose to do. And then we've added, which he has already devoured, lots of different fruits and veggies within and on top of his cake, which was grapes, strawberries, carrots. There's also cantaloupe, watermelon hanging around. Apples was a part of it. He is being very spoiled today, as well as he's going to be the rest of the day. So you guys have to make sure to check us out at the San Antonio Zoo's Facebook page throughout the day, especially at 2 and at 3 o'clock. So just to let you guys know, at 3 o'clock, you're going to tune into ABQ's Biopark Facebook page for more of a birthday celebration with Timothy.
We're going to take over their Facebook page.
We are going to take over their Facebook page to celebrate Timothy's birthday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now he's starting to get a little bit more adventurous. He checked out his beach ball, and now he's enjoying, well, he's probably enjoying the water more so than the ice cube. But still, lots of fun.
Who made all these fun enrichment items?
That is a great question. The keepers. Us keepers, even though we're feeding and taking care of lots of other animals, when we have fun big days for any of our animals, when it's their birthday especially, we like to go all out. So all of us here in Mammals One, all of us keepers are the ones that painted, drew out, colored, decorated, set up everything that you've been seeing here in the video, whether it be the windows, the flowers, our banners that we have, our palm tree in the background, his sand castle. Uma's going to say hi. She's like, no, it's about me now. It's my birthday. We hope that you have enjoyed hanging out with us this morning and helping us celebrate Timothy's 5th birthday. Like I mentioned, make sure to check back throughout the day for a lot more fun things that we're going to do to celebrate and hang out with Timothy on our San Antonio Facebook page. We hope you guys have a great morning. Timothy says bye with his mouth full.